2022 is going to be a great year for electric vehicle model launches with a host of new models coming out from various automakers. I mean, last year was a good year too, and next year will also be. We're really at that kind of tipping point where we're really seeing the game change, where more and more electric vehicles are on the market, enticing people to make that switch if they've been hesitant up until now. One of the automakers that's been leading the pack has been Kia. They've already had two electric vehicle models on the market for some time now with the Kia Soul EV and the Kia Niro. But now they have launched their first ever dedicated exclusive electric vehicle for 2022, which is beside me here. It's the Kia EV6. It is part of a whole next wave, a next generation of EVs for Kia. And it's the feature of what I'm going to look at on my latest review. As I said off the top, this EV6 is part of the next generation, the new wave of electric vehicles for Kia, and it is built on a dedicated platform. It's the same platform used by its cousin, the Hyundai Ioniq5, but there are definite differences as well. But one of the similarities between the two, and because of the dedicated platform, is spaciousness inside based upon proportional layout. This has an overall length that is about 4 inches shorter than the Kia Telluride, the 7-seat, their large family SUV. But the wheelbase is exactly the same length. So you've elongated a wheelbase, giving you optimal space inside for interior comfort and passenger volume. And we'll take a look at that in a second. This here is the top-end GT line, which compared to the baseline in terms of exterior aesthetics, you have things like color-matched wheel arches and other sort of color-coordinated elements also. In the GT line, you also have the doorknobs that are recessed and they pop out. Same with the Ioniq5. I don't necessarily love the way they come out because it's straight coming out on the line. I do appreciate how the fact that they're recessed in for aerodynamics, but there's just something about the handle that's a little bit awkward to hold on to. Small detail, not a game changer, not something to say it's a deal breaker, but a little bit awkward that way. The overall shape of this EV6 though certainly is different than the Ioniq5, and I'm not going to, there's a lot of videos out there that do direct when one video side-by-side comparisons. I'm not doing that, although I have reviewed the Ioniq5 already, and if you want to take a look at that, please do so. I'll put the link up for you to see. You can watch that right after you've watched this one. But the comparative exterior shapes, this is certainly more sleek, more aggressive, more elongated in terms of its overall appearance compared to the more boxy, I called it Minecraft-ish Ioniq5. This to me, even though it has the length of a Telluride, it's probably more in line with a Stinger overall in terms of its overall aesthetic and look. Also with this extra, the GT trim, you've got these lovely 20-inch wheel arches on the package. There's 19s or 20s overall, but it really looks sleek and good overall. In terms of charger placement, where you put the charger, it is here on the back. Again, this matters nowadays because you never know if this is your second EV, where are you placing it, front or back? Where have you set up your charger, in your garage at the side? But I like it towards the back. I actually think it should be usually in the back or directly in the front because that sort of, makes it moderate or it negates that worry about which side you're on overall. Good look overall interior. It's really a fast, sleek design here, this EV6. So in this EV6, there are two battery options available. You have your sort of standard range, which is a 58 kilowatt hour battery, and you have a more powerful 77.4 kilowatt hour battery. The larger battery has both rear wheel drive and all-wheel drive, or dual motor all-wheel drive capabilities, whereas the smaller battery just comes in rear wheel drive. In terms of output, the 58 kilowatt hour battery has the equivalent of 167 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. With the larger battery, you have different outputs depending on whether it's single or dual motor. The rear wheel drive with the larger battery has an output of 225 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. And with the dual motor, this is where it gets really fun. You have basically the 320 horsepower and 446 pound-feet of torque. And you feel it because, again, This is electric, so you get all that torque at 0 RPM, and this dual motor long range battery, which is what I'm driving here in the GT line, is a lot of fun to drive. An important aspect of any EV evaluation relates to charging, and there's a lot of numbers to consider when looking at the EV6. When charging from home using a level 2 240 volt charger, the 11 kilowatt onboard charging unit will take between 6 to 7 hours to go from 10% to full, depending on the battery size. But the EV6 is equipped with the world's first patented multi-charging system, supporting 400 volt and 800 volt DC charging. This system works on DC chargers with speeds ranging from 50 to 350 kilowatts, and when connected to a high output 350 kilowatt charger, the EV6 has the potential to charge from 10 to 80% in just 18 minutes. But achieving this speed will only happen under ideal charging conditions, which in my case, living in Southern Ontario, is the type of weather we'd see from mid-spring to late fall. I did manage to connect the EV6 to a 350 kilowatt charger, but given that I was reviewing it at the beginning of April with the temperature when I was charging just above the freezing mark, I never was able to get higher than about 130 kilowatts while connected. That's still pretty fast, but not as fast as Kia claims it can be. Now I plan to take the EV6 out for a week again in June to do a driving range test review, and I'll get another look at the 350 kilowatt charging times then when weather conditions are better. Another innovative feature with the EV6, like its Ioniq5 cousin, is the available vehicle-to-load feature, which essentially turns the EV6 into a power source on wheels. By connecting an available adapter to the charge port, electricity flows from the battery to an integrated charging control unit. It provides 1900 watts of power to electrical appliances, tools, recreational equipment, or even a magic bullet mixer in my case, which I use to make a delicious mixed fruit smoothie. You can use up to 80% of the available battery with the vehicle-to-load feature, which would be 62 kilowatts if equipped with the long-range battery. Now, according to Kia, this would be enough to provide power to a family of 4 for up to 5 days. There's also a 110 volt power outlet located in a socket on front of the second row seat base, and it has an adapter to draw power from the external charge port if looking to access power while inside the vehicle. Of course, different batteries and different drivetrain combinations will produce different driving range estimates. And I will say again estimates because let's not forget the posted range of an electric vehicle, even with the posted fuel economy with a gas, is just an estimate. It is based upon a standardized, climate-controlled, fully controlled testing protocol. So anytime I give you a published range, just use it as a guide, because there are going to be multiple factors that will affect that better or worse. In wintertime, you should expect to have a lower range. In summertime, you can far exceed it. If you don't need air conditioning or, climate things, you can exceed the posted range by 25% or more. Having said all that, the posted range, according to Kia, for the 58 kilowatt hour rear wheel drive is 373 kilometers, which works out to basically 230 miles. With the larger battery, you're looking at the shorter range in the larger battery comes with the more powerful all-wheel drive. You get more power but less range. And in that case, with this dual motor, there is an estimated range of 441 kilometers, which is 274 miles. The maximum is with the long-range battery in a rear wheel drive, single motor only, and that's where you basically 499 kilometers, call it 500, or 310 miles is the posted range. So we have power, we have range, we also have to talk about efficiency. I am increasingly spending more time and effort comparing how efficient electric vehicles are to each other, since we're now at that point where everything coming out nowadays, save for just very rare exceptions, have driving ranges and battery sizes that meet the needs of everyone. So it's less about range, more about how efficient they are, because again, the more efficient the battery and the powertrain is, the longer you're going to go with the energy you have. According to the published statistics, this Kia EV6 has a combined energy efficiency rating of, and here's one measurement, 2.2 liters E per 100 kilometers, or in the US it would be 117 mpge, and that's sort of the easiest way to sort of side apples to apples, comparing, say, miles per gallon or liters per 100 kilometers. The other way we do it is we talk about how many kilowatt hours it takes to drive a certain distance. And in that case, this Kia EV6, those energy efficiency ratings are 19.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, or for my Americans, it's 29 kilowatt hours per 100 miles. So how does that compare? This is among the more efficient EVs on the market right now. This would put it, in the top third. The Tesla Model 3 and the Hyundai Ioniq, the original Ioniq, still remain the most efficient EVs on the market today. But this isn't too far behind. It's far more efficient than some of its competitors, more efficient than the ID4 or certainly the Mach-E. So on its energy rating, it's pretty good. Does this have the ability to tow? Yes, but only if you are using the dual motor with the long-range battery. And in that case, you have a tow rating of 2,300 pounds. Kia does not recommend a rear-wheel drive long-range battery or the smaller 58 kilowatt-hour battery for towing. But if you're in the top package, you have 2,300 pounds of towing capacity. As I mentioned when talking about the exterior, there is the same wheelbase inside this EV6 as you have in the Kia Telluride. So as a result, there is plenty of interior passenger volume. It's great. It really is fun. And, flat floor, it makes it easy in the back seat. The rear seats do recline a little bit too. So, if you want to relax a little bit, if you do, it takes a little bit of your cargo volume away. As for cargo volume, this EV6, with the second row seats up, so you're only looking at the cargo area alone, you've got 24.4 cubic feet of cargo space. If you put the second row seats down, though, you're going to move up to 46.7 cubic feet. And that's, pretty good for a vehicle of this size. And it's certainly not a detriment. It's not much better than anything in the market or its competitors, but it's not worse either. Another similarity between the Kia EV6 and the Ioniq5 is here on the glass window, whereas once again, we see no rear wiper blade. With the Ioniq5, I was pretty critical of it because of the fact that I was driving in wintertime and there was melt and slush on the roads, and it kept coming up and hitting the rear window. I couldn't clean it. I couldn't wash it. It was, to me, a safety issue. With the Kia, however, though, I haven't been able to drive it in winter. This is actually the first week of April that I'm recording this, so there hasn't really been any snow. But so far, my impressions have been this doesn't impact as much as it did the Ioniq not having the wiper. And I think there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, the angle of this glass is more elongated and it's less rigid than the Ioniq. But I think more specifically is this spoiler. I don't think Hyundai quite predicted the amount of kick up that happens from your tires when you're splashing up and all that sort of slush and melting, as well as rain. And I have driven this week in rain, and well, I always think it's probably better to have a wiper blade than to not. It wasn't as much to me of a safety issue than it was with the Ioniq5. I could see through the droplets of rain, and once it stopped raining, the aerodynamics here, it's got the same upper spoiler with the airflow and little vents that come through, which is really supposed to sort of use it as an aerodynamic sort of wiper of sorts. It works better here. As I said, I'd still love to see a wiper blade, but if they're not going to, again, at least in this case, it's not as big of an issue as it was with the Ioniq5. As I said off the top, 2022 is a really good year for EV launches with a lot coming on board. And this Kia EV6, I was excited when I first learned of it. I was excited when I first saw the images. And after spending a week in it, I'm equally as excited about the potential it has on the marketplace. This is a really strong and compelling EV. There's always little things we can nitpick about one thing or another, not just a subjective preference, but on the whole, this really is one of my favorite EVs that I've seen so far. And I think, there's a lot of competitors now in this category, and if you're looking to get into this segment, I encourage you to try them all, but I'm pretty sure that at the end, this is going to be either near the top or at the top of a lot of people's lists. I hope you enjoyed this review, and if you are not subscribed to my channel, please consider doing so. If you are subscribed, don't forget to hit the bell to make sure you're notified every time I upload something new. That's it for now. I'm Eric Novak. Thanks for watching.